Welcome to the Steelers Realm Podcast. And now, here are the boys of Steelers Realm, New Jersey Dev, JT, and the famous TA.
All right, hey, Steelers Nation, welcome back to another episode of Steelers Realm Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, JT, along with out in the heart of Browns country. It's the famous TA putting up with some serious wind over in Ohio. What's up, buddy?
Todd, you got to turn your mic on, bud.
Can you hear me now?
There we
There we
go.
go.
Sorry about that, JT.
Just the wind turned your mic off over there.
Damn wind.
I'm telling you, it's a blackout, no electricity. I'm like technically challenged right now for just getting on the internet.
It's all right. Hey, we're in good moods tonight, though, too, for sure. On the other side of the state's New Jersey Dev joining us. And in a second, it's going to be a pleasure to introduce our special guest tonight. Once again, he's back. But anyhow, how you doing, Dev?
Oh, good. Thanks for asking, JT. I mean, the Steelers salvaged my weekend after Penn State got beat down on Saturday night. But it's awesome to have this guest here back tonight. That's for sure. Who do we got back on the show, JT? If they can't read his name down there on the video.
Yeah, well, I don't think he doesn't need an introduction. But ladies and gentlemen, Randy Fuller joining us again. Welcome back, Randy. It's great to have you again. Looking forward to a fun discussion as we put it to the Ravens. How about it, man?
Absolutely. Thanks. It's taking too long to get me back, so I'm excited that you guys finally found time to pencil me in. So I'm excited. Anytime the Steelers win, my Mondays are great. I mean, so I've had 7 great Mondays. Even I didn't care about anything else. Steelers win, I'm happy. So I'm excited to be back. So let's jump in it. I can't wait.
Awesome.
Sweet. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Speaking of wind, though, Randy, you're down in Houston. You guys all right down there? We just want to make sure, because didn't the hurricane come through there?
Oh man, there's a different one that form every week, and we have to brace ourselves. So far they've been pushing east and missing Houston. So we only had to evacuate. My work facility is down in Kima, Texas, and we had to evacuate one time. Everything else, we've been sitting in place, and the storm has pushed east. So I hate that Louisiana is getting it. My sister lives over there, but we've been fortunate here in Houston as of late.
That's good. It's good to hear, and it's great to have you back on once again.
Yeah, certainly. So we're looking forward to really picking apart this game. Kind of, again, another tale of 2 quarters. But before we get into that, how about our man Kevin, cool, calm, and collective Colbert making the moves last night after the game? What do you think of that move? Picking up Avery Williamson on a trade for 2022 draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
We gave him a 5th rounder, and they gave us a 7th rounder back. Plus, we get Avery Williamson. Yeah. So, what do you think of that trade, Randy?
Well, I think Kevin got the best of that trade. It obviously fills a need that we have right now, and it gives us time to look and see what Avery is capable of. And if it doesn't work out, we still get a draft pick, or we can find a quality guy. I mean, I got to give Kevin Colbert so much credit for finding incredible talent in late rounds. So to me, it definitely was a great trade, and I'm looking forward to Avery being a part of this defense.
Yeah,
me too. And I would imagine he's looking forward to it as well. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a dumpster fire out here, man. They're 0-8. It's a fire sale.
Did you see the I guess it was a Omean or something. I saw it on ESPN. He was standing on the sidewalk in New York with umbrella, hitchhiking.
Couldn't wait to get. He live streamed this morning on the way to the airport. And he said he's never been more excited. He couldn't sleep last night. And his driver's like, "You getting that ring, man? You're getting that ring."
Man, anything 8-0 is pretty. That's a trade that you want as a player. I mean, I can only imagine. The closest I could get to that is my rookie year, we had a bad year. Elway had a bad year, and we went 7-9 in Denver. I go to training camp, get cut the next year, and I get picked up by the Steelers. And we run the table, go to the Super Bowl, as you know. I mean, that is probably as close as I can get to feeling like Avery is feeling right now.
Oh, yeah. It's like night and day, man. You know, he's a solid
straight from the
pickup,
outhouse to the penthouse, man.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
And he's ready to ball.
He is. He is.
Yeah.
He's looking for a Super Bowl.
Well, I know they were going to restructure his contract, so I mean, he has a lot of incentives to do well and play well, and I think his speed is pretty much what I would say that we need. So I'm just excited to see what he can do.
Yeah. Yeah, he's coming off a torn ACL last year, but he's bounced that back pretty well already this year. I mean, the reason he tore that ACL is because Adam Gase kept him in a preseason game with the second team because he wanted to see him play with the second team. So, and then after the season, Adam Gase forced him to restructure his contract. So he really wanted to get out of New York. That's for sure.
Right. And I guess my last point I will make is that, we'll see where he fits in as far as when he gets this chance to start, because obviously he got to learn the defense, and that defense is a complicated defense. You just don't come into Pittsburgh and pick it up like that. It takes time. And, I mean, as you see Keith Butler, he finally got it going. I mean, I had a lot of questions about the defense the past few years, and now it feels like he got the machine, he got the right players in the right place, and we're making plays. But the key for us to continue the run that we're on is that we have quality depth. And that's, you saw when Hayward went out, you saw who else went out? Another nose tackle went out, right?
Alelu.
Okay, he went out.
Alua.
And Bugs, it was Bugs that came in and made that tackle at the end on Lamar Jackson. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little later, but we got to have depth, and that's what Avery Williamson adds for us.
Yeah, definitely. And a veteran presence too back there, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And he's reunited with Bud, his former college teammate.
Man, how cool is that? You know, I had anytime you could play with one of your former teammates, it just makes it so easy. The transition, because you get there and you actually know someone, even though the rest of the people have no clue about who you are, your personality. It takes some time for that to get going. I had two examples of that. My second year coming to Pittsburgh, Brinston Buckner and I. We weren't teammates in high school, but we played against each other. So we played a rival high school. So when I got there, it was crazy. He was the only one I really knew. And I mean, it took months for everybody else to get to know me, but Buckner made it easy for that transition. So whoever he was hanging with and his friends became my friends. Myron Bell, Lee Flowers, and I mean, the list goes on. Kevin Henry, and just a bunch of guys. And then I had a chance to go to Atlanta with the Falcons. And when I was on my tour, I left Pittsburgh as a free agent. I went to Detroit with Bobby Ross. I was like, I'm not going to Detroit. I went to Atlanta with Dan Reeves and Gary Downs, who played running back for the Falcons. Him and I played in the same backfield in high school. And I said, Gary, what do you think? He's like, man, we're only missing a few pieces. And I said, well, shoot, I think I can come in and help. And that's what happened. I came to Atlanta and we went straight to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, he basically recruited you.
He did.
And Detroit was your other option too.
Detroit was my other option. Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Not really an option.
They're still trying to get it together. Wow.
Yeah, really. Well, let's jump into the game, man. Let's start on the offense. What do you think? Tale of two halves.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some of the good things.
How about the good is that we only have to play 30 minutes and we're 7-0.
Yes.
Can you imagine what's going to happen? When we play 60 minutes, I mean, look out. I can't wait till that day gets here.
Yeah, it's when we played, we had these shirts, and the shirts they were called 60-minute men t-shirt. And I mean, we have not played 60 minutes yet. I mean, all the games have been 30 minutes until the two halves. That's what we have played. And we found a way to win. So the bottom line is you look at the win and losses, and what matters is the W's. So you cannot complain to Kevin Colbert or anybody that we're not getting the job done. I know Mike Tomlin said it was ugly, but the W is what matters. So you start there. The biggest thing that I saw is that, man, we were 6-0 without JuJu Smith doing anything. And it was great to finally get him back into the game and making some plays. So I love the fact that we have a very diverse offense and with multiple players that can make great things happen.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like that next man up mentality. I mean, nobody's going down and getting injured, but every week with this receiving core, it's next man up, and he stepped up, and it's why he showed on Sunday why he's still Big Ben's go-to guy. He had 7 catches on 8 targets for 67 yards, but I believe 2 of those came on 3rd downs, and at one point they threw the ball to him 3 consecutive times, and I think 4 out of 5 consecutive plays, and that one play where he bounced off of Patrick Queen showed incredible balance, and then almost took those 2 dudes into the end zone, man. I mean,
it went down on one hand, kept his balance though, and that's what's impressed me the most with JuJu this year is his combatability, I guess, if we use a Tomlinism, but you can just see he's so much more stronger and more powerful, and that was a prime example, that play right there where, an average receiver may have been stopped 5 or 7 yards back. He continued to take 2 guys forward, maintained that balance, and picked up. Thought for a second he was going in, really.
Yeah.
But that's definitely been impressive.
What stands out to me the most about him this year too, just quickly, is he's got 16 receptions on 3rd or 4th down, and 13 of those have resulted in a 1st down. So he's the go-to guy still. Yeah,
and what makes him the player that he is that he's an intellectual player. I mean, he understands exactly the flow of the game, where he needs to be. He gets those 1st downs, like you said, that a lot of guys will be stopped on, but he understands where the chains are, and he finds a way to get that extra yardage. He's tough. Man, I'm trying to remember who he's the combination of. I know he's first person is Hines Ward, who he reminds me of, and there's someone else that's a combination. Maybe Thig Penn from his catch radius, So if you put those 2 guys together, you got, man, an incredible receiver. But JuJu is holding his own. He's doing his thing. He's not complaining. I love that he's been a team player, because you got to understand when things are going good, there's always a distraction. And that could easily be a distraction that I'm not getting the ball. But he's a team player, and I think that's going to take us a long way.
He's the anti-AB. There's always that one guy, man, 7-0, but he didn't get enough targets.
Randy,
go ahead.
Randy, you bring up a good point too, because you see that it's also permeating through the other wide receivers as well too. I mean, whether it's Washington, Deontay, Ebron, even McDonald for that matter, nobody's getting too excited about who's getting the ball as long as they get one thing at the end of the day, and that's that W. And that is true team football that we're seeing right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that he's spreading it around. And I mean, those tight ends running on those drag routes and able to take it to the house. I mean, that just tells you the type of players that we have, because they're paying attention to. I mean, they used to just focus on AB, even though he still caught the ball on him. But now you can't just focus on one guy. You have to just, prepare for everyone. And Ben is doing a great. If he's protected, everybody knows Ben can make the throw if he's protected. If he's not protected, that's when you worry. But our offensive line, they're fighting. I mean, they had a dog fight, and not to mention they played 7 games. They didn't have a bye week, right? Or they did have a bye week.
Yeah.
But still, the schedule's tough when you have to play back to back the way they're playing right now.
Oh, yeah. Against those 3 teams, that's for sure.
Yeah. The Ravens did have a bye week last week.
Yes. The Ravens had one. But speaking of Ebron, he showed up.
He's been showing up huge.
Yeah, impressive guy.
Yeah.
Big, strong, good. Well, good.
He held on to the ball. He didn't fumble the ball this week.
Right. Yeah.
But Randy was talking about how his former high school rival or teammate Terry Downs, right?
Terry Downs.
Gary Downs recruited him to Atlanta. I mean, Ben's former, male Christian conference fellow participant, Eric Ebron. That's how, he recruited Ebron to Pittsburgh. He met him at a Christian conference. So
Sweet. Well, that was a great recruit. However it happened, I'm sure some prayers and thoughts went into that one. So we're definitely
T's.
And if they had a little communion together to get us there to create the unionship, we'll take it.
We'll take it.
Right. He's playing lights out.
That's right. Some divine intervention. How about it?
Let's just hope we don't have to throw a Hail Mary at the end, But it'll probably work in our favor.
It would. We got with him and Ebron out there. Heck yeah.
I like those odds. Yeah, definitely.
How about
Big Ben? Again, tale of two halves, but I think he tore the earpiece out of his helmet in the second half and just went sandlot on us. What do you think?
Well, he kind of made that. He kind of made that comment in his press interview. He's like, "Hey, and you've seen it in third and fourth quarter. He was gathering up all of his receivers. He was talking, whispering in their ear, telling them, hey, basically, you run a go, you run a skinny, you run a flat, you run it out." He said, and they all did it. They're playing backyard football, man, and made it happen against the Ravens.
Throwing them up in the dirt.
Hey, it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch because when you have those kind of weapons. That's what you see the same thing happening in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes and the weapons. And the offensive coordinator is looking at their chop. But when you got a quarterback that can make the adjustment based on the alignment of the defense, man, you're going to normally find somebody that's open. And like I said, the only time being really truly misses is if there's enough pressure where he has to rush the pass, or we just start slow. For some reason, the Ravens was ready to play in the first half, and we were not ready to play. That interception helped us to get out early. So that's what we needed just to stay in that game. Because if we don't get those points, I think this game turns out totally different. Mm-hmm. So, and Ben did a good job because he didn't turn it over. This game did. Yeah,
no, he didn't.
So we knew going into the game, that was going to be huge, not turning the ball over.
Yeah. No, he did. And I'd like to see the stat on how many audibles he made because he was yelling Omahas, green light, red light, you name it, man. I mean, he sounded like Peyton Manning out there, like Peyton Manning on meth. I mean, he was yelling the whole game. But
hey, did you ever figure out what Peyton Manning used to bark out there?
Omaha?
That's what everybody thought he was saying. But me and my friend, we broke it down one day. We figured out what he was saying. Very simple.
Give me the ball.
Like, Peyton Manning.
Wait,
he's like, I'm the man.
He was talking third person out there. That's hilarious. Speaking of great quarterbacks, though, Peyton was a good one. You got to give him that. Ben rallied the Steelers from a tie or a deficit in the fourth quarter for the 44th time in his career, which is a franchise record, obviously, but he actually passed Brett Favre for the fifth most games in NFL history.
Wow.
Another old gunslinger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, for years I used to argue that, hey, if we have Big Ben, I like our chances. That was my motto. Mm-hmm. So a healthy Big Ben, I'll take any day as our quarterback. So I'm loving what he's doing. And I really still don't feel like he's in a true rhythm as far as throwing the ball. I feel like they haven't let him go. We're throwing a lot of dinks and dunks, and we'll take that. But I like to see him air the ball out. I mean, I know you guys watched the game. I think Bill Cowher said at halftime, he's like, man, I'll just let Ben air it out.
Been there.
Cowher knows.
So Randy, let me ask you this. Do you think that's what Coach Canada has brought here to the offense with Big Ben? I mean, because he is slinging the ball. He's releasing the ball quicker than any other quarterback by not 10%, not 20%, but almost 30%. He is getting that ball out quick. And you're right, it is dink and dunk. But do you think that that's what Canada has impacted on him?
I think those type of plays are safe. I think they move the chains. It's kind of like I mean, the commentator kept saying all Lamar got to do is give it to the running back. He gets 3-4 yards on that first down, and that was their game plan, and it worked for them. I think we do the same thing. We're just doing it with crossing routes. So I like the fact that Ben doesn't have to sit back and hold it because, there was a time where he could shake everybody off and still go make a play, but he can't do that anymore. So it's good that he's getting rid of the ball. But I really thought the game plan was a little different because we didn't establish the run in the first half. And I thought we went away from that. And I'm like, where's Connor? Where's Connor? And Connor wasn't there for this game. And I don't know what the game plan was. Maybe it was because of the defense we were playing, but they definitely changed the scheme of what we have been doing.
Well, and if you notice, even the one time they brought in McFarland, and I mean, he had so much daylight, it wasn't even funny. It scared him, and he tripped over that blade of grass, and that was the last time we seen him all day. And I was like, Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Man,
we didn't even see Snell.
Man, he did the Cupid shuffle in the backfield. And
he took his Zumba class out there.
Hey, had he stayed on his feet, man, I would love to have seen him outrun that defense because he is so fast. So it's going to happen. Another weapon that we don't really even talk about him because we haven't seen him. So, I mean, gosh, that is amazing how many weapons Ben has.
Yeah. I thought he was taking it 89 yards to the house. That's for sure. But the game's moving a little too fast for him right now. I mean, last week there was the one snap he had. They called a draw to him, and he went into pass blocking mode, and Ben had to scramble up the middle. So he'll come around.
Hey, listen, our players, again, that's still a defensive complicated, and I'm sure with no preseason games, no off season. I mean, come on, McFarland's learning on the fly. So just to give him credit, I mean, maybe by the end he'll be that player. They're like, man, we didn't prepare for him. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do.
But speaking of the bad, we'll get into the bad here now. Should we be concerned about Big Ben's elbow? I mean, did you guys see him? He was getting a little rub down on the sideline right before the end of the first half.
Now, you could tell when he just hit his funny bone, man. He turned around and he said he hit his funny bone. And it was the same thing I said in the garage, man, with the guys, Cole, man, Benz. I said, no, he hit his funny bone. I mean, think about it. He just got done with surgery. Anybody who's had surgery, that's going to be tender, man. And you hit that thing just wrong, it's going to send a little shock wave. And I'm pretty sure that's all that was because it didn't look like it affected. If anything, it made him throw it even better in the second half.
Yeah. Well, something to kind of bring something up. My dad and I were mentioning this too. A couple of those deep passes. Now, granted, the receivers were getting mugged all day long, but yet still were overthrown. A couple of those could have gone long, and he was kind of overthrowing those. What do you think it would attribute that to? Is it just the timing? Is it just like what do you think it is?
I still think we're preseason mode where we're getting better each week, and the timing has just been off, not having that off season. And Ben is learning his receiver. I mean, we went 3 games before they even knew what Claypool could do. So I mean, I just think the time. That's what I was saying earlier when I said he's still off on his release or throwing the ball. So I mean, he's throwing some incredible balls that you look and say, wow, that's amazing. Then you look at some, you're like, man, what's going on? But I just think they got to continue to work together. And I mean, it's like I said, if you got Big Ben, you got a chance.
Yeah. And I guess if he was underthrowing him, that would be more cause for concern. But he's actually leading him too much. Yeah. Probably just giving him some space to run under it.
Well, look at those receivers. Those are all so many different types of speed of the receivers. They're all not running the same length. I mean, we got tall ones, we got short ones now. I mean, they're all moving at a different pace. And to time that up, you got to have repetition. And Ben hasn't had a chance to have that.
Yeah. There's at least once or twice every game that Ben and Deontay, their timing is off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Twice. The only other thing I have down here, though, for the bad, just briefly, Claypool did fumble.
Right.
we love the kid. We blow him up a lot on here. We finally get a chance to critique him because he's perfect. He did fumble, and this is already his third fumble of the season. So should we be worried about his ball security? I mean, typically Mike Tomlin has you on a short leash if you fumble once, even.
Hey, no more than what Ebron's already done, and I think you just got to let him play. And I mean, this is part of being a rookie, man. He's just got to learn. I mean, we were talking about JuJu earlier. JuJu made sure he was not going to lose that ball against the Ravens again. You could tell he was having replays going through his head of last year. He was squeezing that football so hard on that run, and you thought he was going to blow it up. So it's just going to take a minute for Claypool to just figure that out.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. The ball looked like it was a little. Was it raining there at all?
Yeah, it rained before the game. Yeah.
So that's what I thought. I thought it was more. You got to pay attention for ball security because of the weather conditioning, and I just think this guy's been doing so good. Every once in a while you got to have a hiccup. So let's have it early. Let's get it out the way. Let's learn from it. Let's move forward and not make that mistake again. So right now, I don't see him losing any more balls moving forward. I see that he's going to pay attention to ball security.
Well, didn't he, Jackson? There was nobody around, and he was just on one of his runs. Didn't he just drop the ball?
Yeah, he hit it off his knee. Yeah, he was carrying it like a loaf of bread, and he banged it off his knee.
It happens, man.
Yeah. In terms of the ugly, though, time of possession stunk in the first half.
You're not kidding.
Yeah, I mean, losing those run stoppers early, the Ravens was able to control the ball by running it and just handing it off. And yeah, that's going to control the clock. I mean, if I'm the Raven defensive offensive coordinator, I want to keep Big Ben on the sideline. I want to control the clock. And they did a great job with multiple running backs. And we were hurt up front a little bit, and that made a difference in that first half. But, I mean, I know our game plan is always to go in there and stop the run.
Right.
We stopped Saquon Barkley, we stopped Derrick Henry, and now another tall task of Dobbins and that crew. And man, you asking them to do that every week in and week out. Yeah. So you were going to have some fall off. You knew that. So, but we are a bend but don't break defense, and that's exactly how we played on Sunday.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. Good point. And then we talk about McFarland. We would just kind of chatted about that. Him all kind of daylight, and his eyes were probably about this big around, and then cut a little too quick too. But
yeah, we couldn't establish our own running game in order to kind of fight back on that time of possession. And on the pregame show, we blew up that stat where they're averaging 35 minutes in away games and 33 minutes of time possession on the year, which is like first in the NFL, both of those.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we jinxed us because we went back to last year.
It was like
time of possession
minutes.
But you have to throw all stats out when you play the Ravens and the Steelers. I mean, you just throw it all out. I mean, who knew that? I mean, listen, if we get 4 turnovers, normally we're gonna blow somebody out. We had 4 turnovers and it still came down to the very end because that was the Ravens. So, I mean, I'm glad we turn it over because that game might have been different.
Yeah. Speaking of turnovers, sorry, TA.
And I was just going to add to that, we got to remember too, the Ravens had a whole week off to watch us. And I think you've seen that, especially in our run game. I mean, where we were pulling guards and tackles at ease up till this game. They had an answer for every pulling guard and tackle that we threw at them on this game, which basically stopped us dead in our tracks.
Yeah, they prepared well, and that's why we had to go away from the running game. I mean, we have to give them credit, Sometimes we don't want to give teams credit. We have to give them credit for that, and they forced us to have to throw the ball probably more than we wanted to throw the ball. But I kept saying, where's Connor? Where's Connor? So you did make some good runs when he got a chance to.
Well, on defense, we talked about key to the game was obviously stop the running game. We didn't do so good at that, but the other part of that was you stop the running game and make him pass, and that's where we take the advantage. Well, for some reason, they went away from the running game, which we don't know why, but that reared its ugly head to our advantage, actually.
Yeah, right off the bat.
Yeah, especially.
I know. I mean, who wasn't happy when they saw Lamar drop back as a Steeler fan? I mean, we were happy about that. He gave us what we wanted, turnover. So, and he was going to be pressed. He was going to try to do a lot, and they have a really good football team. Or at least they're going to play us like it's the Super Bowl anyway. So that kid is special. I'm still upset that the Ravens drafted him, because all I can think about is we got to face this guy twice a year, for his whole career. I mean, that was my first thought. Like, why did you go to Baltimore? So, but he's an excellent, incredible player. But our defense, again, we made the plays that we had to make. And at the end of the day, if you get a W, that means you had the best game plan.
Yeah. Yeah. He had 4 turnovers, and he has 7 total turnovers against the Steelers in 2 starts.
Yeah.
So
we're doing a good job. We're doing a good job of making them turn it over.
And part of that game plan, guys, let's face it, was really 10 guys against the running back, because whoever was sent to spy on Lamar, that was his job. Whether he handed the ball off or he kept the ball, you were to stay with Lamar. And we watched it. Bud got burned on it. Bud thought he would sneak in there on the inside to get the running back. And what did Lamar do? He snug around on the outside on him.
Yeah.
I mean, so we really played with a 10-man defense against the run, against like a wing offense, because they played the shell game, the coconut game on us all day long. Pick what peanut the shell's in. That's who's running the ball. And they did a fine job.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're not disciplined against offense like that, when you have a weapon like Lamar Jackson, you can get burned. And if it wasn't the NFL, I mean, Lamar would have had about 600 yards rushing. I mean, it's amazing to see the speed of the NFL players, because when he took off one time, I'm like, oh, he's gone. But our defense is so fast, we closed down the gap and was able to stop him. So it's amazing the speed on that level. I mean, I played on it, but I'm still amazed just looking at it.
Yeah.
He's still an elusive runner, though. You know who he reminds me a lot of? Randy.
Who's that?
Who do you think I'm thinking of?
Michael Vick?
Too, but somebody played for the Steelers.
Slash.
Man.
Cordell.
Talk about a loose.
So the thing with Slash, and Cordell and I had this conversation like a couple of weeks ago, because when people see these RPO type quarterbacks, they think, some of them think Cordell, but I was like, Cordell, I haven't seen any of those other quarterbacks play receiver. I haven't seen any of those quarterbacks punt. I haven't seen. So you are still Slash. You're still the only one to do what you've done. Nobody else has done that. So I don't even compare him to those other players.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like a Swiss Army knife, man. Yeah.
He was.
That was a friggin' Swiss Army knife.
He was. No, I mean, Lamar hasn't played receiver. Lamar hasn't punted the ball.
Right.
No, he's only played one position, and that's running back. I mean, quarterback. We threw some exotic looks at him that confused him. I mean, they had 7 DBs out there at one time. They had a package out there with 5 linebackers. They were blitzing Minka a lot of the time too, from what I saw. And it certainly was key. It might have confused him a little bit, those exotic looks, because he made some throws that even some that didn't get picked off, that were just floated up there and prayers. Yeah,
I mean, what I enjoy about it, our defense, is just seeing some players make plays that you haven't really heard too much about. Highsmith, especially on that interception that he got, was, just huge. Just a very athletic player, to make that play. And, anytime we get the ball back to the offense, that just help our chances to win it much better. So him and Bugs, the way Bugs played, I don't even know who Bugs is, but
he's out of Alabama. Bugsy.
And Randy, you brought up a good point earlier in the show that these guys are rookies. They went without any OTAs, any training camp, any preseason games, and these guys are learning on the fly of what is a pretty complex defense. And they're they're it's paying off. They're contributing.
Yeah.
Right.
Bugs is a second-year guy, but he was on practice squad, I think, for most of last year, so he's basically a rookie. But he stepped up when Alelu, I can never say his damn last name, Alulu went down. He was dominated in that first half. Bugs went out there. I think he got pancaked on one of the blocks. He got spun around, but in the second half, he adjusted. And Randy mentioned earlier too the fourth down sack of Lamar. He actually stopped Lamar on third down the play prior too. So
right.
Yeah, no, it's good to have the youth movement, as we call it, because those guys are fresh. They're eager. I never forget. We were playing the game against the Cincinnati Bengals, and my good friend Oliver Gibson was starting that game. And sure enough, he made a couple of tackles, and the commentator in the stand said, tackle by Keenan Henry. And Oliver was looking like, man, that was me. And then he makes another tackle by Joel Steed. And Oliver, I mean, you can see smoke coming off his helmet. And then finally, he made another tackle, and then he jumped up and said, say my name. So you want the credit. When you make those plays, you want the credit. And that's what our young players are doing. They're showing up, they're making plays, they're having their name called out, and they're part of, the number one defense. We took pride in having the number one defense. So that's amazing that the defense is playing. Keith Butler really got those guys playing well.
Yeah, definitely. And how about Stephon Tuitt? Good.
It all starts there in the trenches.
Oh,
that swing move he put on, I don't know who, it might have been a replacement at right guard or left guard. He just threw him to the side, man. He just moved him and then hit Dobbins in the backfield for like a 4-yard loss. 3 tackles for loss on the day. That was the dirtiest swim move I've ever seen, though. Textbook,
Yeah, well, listen, my buddy, I was talking to a friend today, and he was talking about lucky Steelers. I said, well, hey, we played the Cowboys this week. He was like, oh, man, yeah, they don't have anything. I said, man, they shouldn't be on the schedule, right? They shouldn't be on the schedule. So if they're on the schedule, they got to play the game. So I don't care whether it was the backup guard, starting guard, whoever. If you're on the field, you got to take the abuse. And that's what Tuitt did. He abused them, and he took advantage of it. So nobody's looking at the stats on who he did it against. They're just looking at tackle for loss.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
30 sacks on the year, too, for the Steelers. Leads the NFL.
Doesn't our trend continue to? What is it with at least 2 sacks? TA, what were we? We've been kind of tracking this all
65 games now, I believe. We've got 4 more to go to beat the NFL record set by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Wow. That's impressive. And the way Bud Dupree and TJ Watt are coming off those corners, it just makes those interior linemen make their job a lot easier when the quarterback has to step up. So we have done a great job of flushing those quarterbacks into the defense, to the heart of the defense. And, the only thing I would say that I would like to see us do differently over my years of watching the Steelers is I don't mind. Like, my philosophy as a DB was I was truly a safety, but I had to play corner. I don't mind you making a catch, but when you catch it, I'm going to pick you up and slam you on your neck. All right? So that was my philosophy. All I
like that philosophy.
Is keep the ball in front. They can catch the ball and make some plays, but now, the 60, 70, 80 yarders, man, if we can stop that, I promise you, we'll win the rest of our games. Yeah. We can't give up big plays like that.
Yeah, Snead had a big one where Lamar, once again, was getting sacked and just threw it up there for, hoping on a prayer. He had 2 long passes like that. I think the other one went to Boykin, Snead and Boykin.
Yeah, and that kind of leads to our next point there is, that middle continues to get exposed. And there were a couple times where one of their receivers was completely wide open.
That was a bust. That was a complete bust because the safety was 20 yards away from him. There was no one else around. And Mika did an incredible job of making the tackle and not allowing him to score. But again, as we no off season, No, a whole lot of, walkthroughs are what we do more than anything. So imagine seeing that route combination and we're doing our walkthroughs and we see that over and over and over again. So when you get to the game, you recognize it right away and you don't make those kind of mistakes. So we're going to make, some things you have to learn in the middle of the game, and you have to make halftime adjustments and game adjustment. And we just got to stop giving up the big plays with that many yards. You're going to give up some big plays, but I'm glad to not see a whole bunch of balls flying over our corner's head.
Yeah, right. Minimize the damage, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, as good as he played and with the interception and everything, and too, Spillane still did get exposed from time to time, even on running plays. And something that kind of struck me as I was thinking about it, with even though, Bush and Williams were still kind of having that same issue earlier in the season, for Kevin Colbert to go out and grab Williamson. I think that was a big statement, just kind of one of those solidifying moves just to get a little bit different player out there, and not hang the guy out to dry. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
Yeah, with Spillane, he gets exposed, and it's kind of like how Bush was. It's right. When it's one-on-one coverage, and Williamson, I guess, is apparently a little bit better in one-on-one as compared to the zone. So I think like Randy mentioned at the beginning of the podcast before we hopped on, it's he's coming in for depth because Ulysses Gilbert's hurt too. I think it's still Spillane's job, but he did get exposed on some running plays where he couldn't get to the edge, etc.
Yeah, well, let's face it, so did a lot of other Steelers get exposed on some of their running plays.
Again, hey, like I said, if I'm the general manager, when I see 7-0, I'm doing everything right. And trust me, it's one of those situations where it's good to have depth because you want to play away. So it's Spillane. Actually, when he hit Derrick Henry last week, I thought he was hurt. So I hadn't even checked to see if he was going to play or not. So I was happy to see him out there. And then to start the game off with the interception, man, I was like, Spillane, like, let's go. And again, the Steelers defense has always been, I'm talking about the scheme of what we run, the 3-4 scheme.
Yeah. We
bend. You can push it down to the goal line, but most of the time you're going to come out with a field goal because that's what the defense is. It's a bend but don't break. So, I'm pleased with the way the defense finished up the game.
Yeah, they certainly came back and made it shine on that last drive. And it was kind of funny seeing all the Ravens press conferences afterwards complaining about how, he hit me in the head. I feel like I got hit in the head.
That last play. I couldn't believe that there was even a discussion on the last play.
Yeah.
Everybody was going for the ball, Randy. What are we going to do? You can't go for the ball anymore?
Oh, my God. Mika had the ball in his hand pretty much.
He was the first one to touch it.
That's not even a conversation, okay? That was a no-brainer. I'm glad the officials saw what we saw, and they took it in, and that worked out because we did not need that controversy like that.
Right.
Now, Randy, have
a nice day.
I do got a question to ask you.
Yeah.
Because I thought we got a ticky-tack call against Cam for a personal foul when he pushed Lamar out. Now, granted, Mika had him wrapped up. He was there on the sideline. Cam come over, gave him a little push. He was still in bounds when he pushed him, but then they went ahead and they threw the flag. Then it wasn't no more than probably, 3 series later, you see Lamar run out to the outside, and then he's running out, but then all of a sudden he just stops, does a little stutter step like, am I going to come back in or am I going to go back out? And I thought, and there you have it. You called us on a personal foul because you don't know what that guy is going to do. And he just showed you a few series later. Now, do you feel that was a ticky-tack call in that situation?
Oh, I thought it was a horrible call. That's from, I'm a defensive player, but just looking at it logically, I thought it was a bad call because he was inbounds when Cam hit. And we can protect that quarterback when he's in the pocket like that. But when he gets outside the pocket and becomes a runner, you don't see a number. All you see is a tackle. and Cam had to make sure that he was out of bounds. So Cam can't do anything different. I was fine with it. I thought it was a horrible call by the officials. And you're right. When he didn't step out and found that he could stay in bounds before he actually stepped out, I mean, we can't take that chance. I mean, the Ravens are sneaky and dirty, man.
Tough one too. That penalty hurt.
Right. Well, yeah, because that's why I bring that up, because everybody's talking about, we had the pick six, and then, we had it, and then we come out and we laid a golden egg. Actually, we didn't. That was a third down. We had stopped them on third down.
Yeah, that was a big play.
What would have happened if we would have got the ball back right after that in good field position, because we spent the majority of the game on our side of the 50.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have been.
Yeah, I think it was about 8 minutes left before we were on their side of the 50. In the first
5 minutes, 24 seconds.
Yeah, so
I wrote it down.
Man, they again, we didn't come out to play. I'm going to contribute that to the Ravens had the bye week. They came out, they were ready. They had a great game plan against us. We were trying to figure out what we could do against this Raven defense, and it just took us a while to get started. And the ball didn't bounce in our favor. So sometimes when you get that early touchdown like our defense got, it changes the game plan. It changes the rhythm of the game. And now Baltimore was, because they were down 7 early, they were conscious of trying to make sure they protected the ball and moved it and got points off of that. And that's what I thought the difference was.
Yeah. The thing with Jackson, too, he draws a lot of those penalties going out of bounds. He does it on purpose, because I was watching his game, I think a week or two ago. I was watching NFL Network. They had him mic'd up, and they were showing the highlights, and he got hit out of bounds, and it drew a flag, and all the players and coaches start running over to him, and he's like, man, I'm fine. I just flopped. I just flopped. So he does it on purpose. You know?
And that play that TA was just talking about, did you know, like he did that little stutter step, like, you can hit me, and then out of bounds.
He's a magician out there. I mean, when he takes off, I mean, he's like the human joystick for real. I mean, he's fun to watch. I mean, I like watching him, but when he played the Steelers, all that changes.
That's right.
That rival is amazing, though. I never forget. What was that? 97. I think we played the Ravens, and we were down at halftime, and Cordell brought us back. I think we were down a bunch. I got hurt at right before the half, so I don't remember all of it. But I do remember saying, "Man, if you're gonna get hurt, at least you get to fly back with a W." And Cordell brought us back that year. But that rival, man, was building way back then, and it hasn't stopped. So I love watching this game.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think he had a long touchdown pass or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think our friend Steel City Star actually has a video of it. I'll find it here after the show and send it over to you, Randy.
Yeah. Oh,
Definitely.
nice.
Well, before we get into the MVP pick of the game and then review our predictions prior to, want to give Dev some kudos here for calling out Willie Snead as being somebody to watch out for.
These guys were clowning me, Randy, in the pregame show. I was like, we got to focus on Willie Snead. He kills us. He makes big catches. And the only time we covered him all day was on that last play. And these guys wanted to get through that part of the show. I guess they didn't think it was good stuff. But
I mean, it's like who was that game? Is that what team does Fulham play for, or Fulham?
The Eagles.
Yeah, it's one of those guys that we didn't know who he was. And I mean, we made him all-star, right? And
we do now, huh?
To us, but you got to understand that Ravens offense, man, you get to stick it in the belly of a great running back, and then you get to either pull it and the quarterback get to choose where you want to throw it or run it. I mean, that's the offense. So you're not going to stop it, but you try to contain it, and Lamar doesn't. I mean, look, who's the other receiver was complaining? Brown.
Yeah.
Brown complaining he didn't get the ball, so he's ready to bail out of there. So we did our job. We took away their number one receiver, and somebody else gets the credit. So that's what Snead does. He took advantage of that.
Yeah.
That's true.
Kind of like what we do. Somebody covers JuJu, Deontay steps up. Somebody covers Deontay and JuJu. We've got Claypool, and you know, and then watch out. Every once in a while, there's James Washington too coming to the rescue. So,
except we don't have a running back for a quarterback and can throw the ball to those guys.
Yeah, right.
Not yet. Maybe we'll trade up and get Trevor Lawrence.
What we should do, we should go after.
That's what I'm talking about right there, Randy.
I know. On the 1 year we're undefeated. I mean, we can't even tank at this point. I mean, we got to keep going.
Yeah.
Right, but did you notice who is getting a little fire sale, getting ready to pull a little tank job? Old Bill Belichick.
Yeah,
he's putting himself in line for Trevor.
No question. That's a great one. New England, yeah. You're right.
We might lose Connor after this year, though, so we should look at Jackson to replace Connor. Nobody got that one, huh?
Which running back?
Yeah. I said
Jackson.
We should go after Lamar Jackson to replace James Conner after this year because we might lose him.
I'll take that. If you convert back to a true running back, I really like Conner, man. He just brings fire. You know, you just feel like every step he takes that we're all running with him because of what he's been through. So, you know, I like what he's been able to do. But I'm amazed that we just abandoned the running game this last game. But I think it's because of more what Baltimore did. So I think our running game is fine, and I like our backup running backs too. So
yeah, they do a good job. These guys.
Yeah, we got a really strong stable this year. Really strong stable.
We have a team in all phases. And who's that kick returner that we have?
Ray.
He is dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, he made some big plays for us. So
he drew a big defensive pass interference penalty too because he beat the dude.
Yeah, that was huge.
That's right. He did.
He got speed. So incredible. So Kevin Colbert he gets an A in my book for what he's put together. Because again, he's undefeated. What are you gonna say? If one of you guys want to give him a B and he's undefeated, shame on you.
Hey, can't argue that.
So Randy, I do have to ask you a question here.
Yeah.
Did you see the TJ Watt Keith Butler exchange on the sideline?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love how the camera crew moved away from it and they never made any comment about it. And any other team, they would have been the talk. But for some reason, they did not. They had a heated exchange. Mm-hmm. And that happens, whatever they were disagreeing on, but they came together at the end, was on the same page, and he was still out there making plays. But I did see that.
Did you ever have an experience when you were playing with the Steelers? A similar one? Not you personally, but have you ever seen something like that with like a Greg Lloyd, Bill Cowher going at it or something?
No,
nothing like that.
Man, listen, the closest exchange I had, and Coach Lewis, we laugh about this today. So we're in the playoffs, and we had to wait, to see who we were going to play. So we were watching the Bills, the Chiefs. We had to watch like 3 different teams. We didn't know who we was going to play. So we were watching film. I looked around the room, and everybody in the room is asleep. Everybody is asleep, including, Coach LeBeau is running the remote and he's asleep. Everybody's asleep.
It was the night before the playoffs, and all through the house, our defense coordinator was asleep like the mouse.
Hey man, everybody was asleep. This is a fact. It was hilarious. And I grabbed a piece of mail because I had some fan mail. I said, I'm just gonna open this fan mail and see. I was trying to stay up. So next thing I know, Coach Lewis comes over and he looks over my shoulder and sees me opening the mail, and he says something to me about putting it away. And for some reason, I just snapped. And next thing I know, we're going back and forth, and we wake up everybody in the room. I was the new guy. And I'm like, man, you're not going to disrespect me like I'm some kid, like I'm playing in college, So that's the closest we came. Outside of that, I remember Coach Cowher spitting, yelling at me because I messed up on a 3rd down, and he was like, Fuller, just spit flying all over. And I was like, I didn't even look at him. I heard my name, I just did not even look, and I just went back played the next play, got us off the field, and we were good.
So I got to ask you though, since you just said that, could you imagine if Cower was coaching during COVID? There wouldn't be enough shields, enough math, enough anything to save you from a shower.
No. Coach Cower, man, he's gonna spit it out. I mean, my favorite part of Coach Cower, we used to circle up at the end of practice, and he used to say, "Come closer," and everybody would take a step back. Come in, come closer. We're like, no, come closer. I mean, it was hilarious.
That's good stuff, man. Oh, great. It's like, I never forget him. One game, Josh Miller shanked a punt, and then he shanked another punt, and then I never forget that, like, the cameraman just stayed on Cower, and Josh Miller tried to go hide way down at the end of the line, like hide behind players, and Cower just tracked him down the whole time, that chin sticking out. Oh, it was hilarious.
No, you don't want to ever make the head coach, man. It's something about, hey, when you mess up and the head coach come get you, it's not a good thing. Yeah. Not at all.
There's only so many places you can hide too. Like try to find a big offensive lineman to hide behind.
It's going to disappear there somewhere. Okay, so let's pick our MVP of the game. Let's see, Randy. Let's get your pick for MVP of the game. Who saved this game? Who's the most valuable player?
Man, I'm gonna go. Oh man, that's a good one. Offensively or defensively, or just MVP overall?
Overall, yep. Dev, he's tough on us, man. He makes us only pick one. So
yeah, sorry about the language on that document there, Randy. I just stressed that we pick one player at this point because we've already broke down the game. I took that out of there though. So
well, I'm still gonna go with Spillane for me.
Nice. I don't think you can go wrong there. Definitely. No arguments there. TA, who was your MVP, man?
I'm going to have to go with his linebacker buddy, and I'm going to go with Highsmith. I mean, those two boys, being young, being new to the defense, they came up with key plays at the right time to turn that game around.
Absolutely.
As Tony Romo with his corny joke said, Highsmith high-pointed the ball.
I didn't even hear that.
I mute it most of the time. When he's on a tangent like he was yesterday, it's all great stuff, but it's a little bit too much sometimes.
A little cheesy there.
Yeah. He was saying the same cadence as Ben at one point. He's like, "Say go." He said that like at the same time as Ben.
Oh, he wants to get back out there. He probably could help a lot of teams right now.
He could, yeah. Right.
Yeah, really. All right, Dev, how about for you, man? Who's the MVP?
I'm gonna go with Bud. I know he didn't really show up too much on the stat sheet, but he had that big strip sack of Jackson.
Yeah,
it kind of bailed us out on that one drive where Dobbins had that real long run. So I gotta go with Bud, man.
Well, I don't think any of us, could go wrong here with our picks, but I'm going to go with Big Ben. Big Ben stepped up, saved the day, just with his, led the team back, man. Brought the team back, put him on his shoulders, and took him back. So,
do we get to debate that pick?
What's that?
Do we get to debate that pick? This is a defensive MVP. This is defense won this game. Offense did what they were supposed to do, but defense won this game. It's awesome that we picked 3 linebackers and a quarterback, but the linebacker play says a lot about who we are. And if the Steelers linebackers are playing well, that says that we can go a long way.
Yep.
Yeah. Good point. Well, let's take a look at our predictions. Excuse me. Orpheus predicted, all of us took the Steelers. Orpheus predicted the score 24-14. I predicted 27-24 Steelers. Dev had the Steelers Eakin won by 19-18, and then TA had it at a blowout of 31-17. So
Interesting.
Hey, I'm not going to lie there for a minute when we were up 24-17, I thought, you know what? We get that ball back, one touchdown. I'm right there at 31-17, and my heart don't have to go through this pain and torment anymore. It didn't quite work out that way.
Yeah.
You're cool. JT, so you win it with the 27-24, missing it by one?
Yeah, it'd be the closest, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I picked 28-24. You didn't ask me. I had 28.
What's he win?
He's the winner this week.
Yeah, the winner is.
Tell me what he won.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
man, always giving Steeler fans a heart attack to the other team. That's for sure.
Definitely.
No doubt.
They literally did that one time. Remember when Jerome Bettis fumbled in the 2005 playoff game?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Indianapolis. Was that Indianapolis?
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude in a
yeah.
bar down in Pittsburgh in the strip district. He had a heart attack on his chair. What's that, Randy?
I say that's when Big Ben made the shoestring tackle.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a heart attack there.
yeah, guy literally had one.
Yeah.
In a
Oh,
bar
really?
stall. Yeah, no, down in Pittsburgh in strip district at a bar. When that play happened, a dude had a heart attack sitting
I
on
believe-
his bar stool.
I almost had one too. It was, yeah.
Bit of
Big
most-
Ben always gives you and Jerome.
Yeah.
Fun guys to play. I didn't get to play with Big Ben, but I did play with Jerome. And man, fun to play with Jerome. I was so happy to be on his team, and I didn't have to tackle those big thighs.
Like a bowling ball, man.
Bowling ball. Yeah, I didn't have to hit him. I had to hit Ironhead Hayward now.
Oh, Cam's
Yeah.
dad.
Oh yeah. And I used to take Advil right after the game. Like, man, I had a headache from hitting this guy. It was like hitting a brick wall.
They said that he got his nickname because he was a kid playing pool at a pool hall, and I guess he got in an altercation with another kid, and they broke a pool stick over his head, and he didn't flinch.
I believe it.
And they started calling him Ironhead.
When I was hitting him, I felt like I was hitting a brick wall. And my whole body was sore after the game. I was like, please don't play him again. Ironhead Hayward. And then one time I went to a game to see Chicago play. I forgot who they were playing, but I went to the practice the day before. And when that wind was coming off Lake Michigan, I mean, it was blizzard cold. It was freezing. And they had walkthroughs outside. Everybody's in sleeves, jackets, everything. And Mr. Hayward was out there in some shorts and a t-shirt.
Hey, he's a bad man.
He was a bad man, man.
Yeah,
I hate Austin, but he was an incredible person, incredible player.
Yeah, both of his sons are too. Cam and the Cam's little brother plays for Michigan State. The Hayward family went 2-0 against the Harbaugh family this week.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
That was a big win. That was a huge win.
yeah. Jimmy's gonna get fired.
It's going to be tough for him. I mean, you lose to Michigan State.
Dude, after they just lost to Rutgers, yeah. Haywards are undefeated against the Harbaughs, that's for sure.
Yeah. Awesome.
Alrighty.
All right, guys. Well, hey, you know what? While we got you here, Randy, how about a prediction on the Cowboys game?
Yeah.
Well, we better stop Ezekiel. That's the first thing, because they're going to run the same little offense. Thank God that quarterback is not good. After I saw what I saw last night, I was worried for a minute there.
Danucci.
So, yeah, so I'm definitely going to say Steelers victory. And the Cowboy defense is not bad, but we still should average about what we've been averaging. We should be able to put up about 28 points. And the Cowboys, I mean, if we play like we're supposed to, they'll put up 10. So I'm going to say 28-10.
Okay. We got you, man.
Man, what a boring game that was last night.
Oh, I didn't even remember. I didn't watch it.
I fell asleep before
I
that.
saw the quarterback throw a couple of passes. I was like, oh, come on. Please start him next week. That's all.
Yeah.
Please.
He's a Pittsburgh boy out of Pine Richland.
Oh, wow. Now, you know we make bad teams look good now. That's what scares me sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And the Cowboys, it's a rival, so it's not going to be just an easy win, but we'll do what we have to do.
Well, you know, we haven't lost to teams we were supposed to beat this year yet.
You better
I know.
knock on some wood.
I know.
We haven't lost any teams.
Right. But, I mean, typically there's always that one sleeper game that we're always afraid to. When we made our predictions for the entire season, I know each of us picked one of those games like, well, we should beat these guys.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to pick one of these games. So, but anyhow, yeah, one of them was the Cowboys game.
Yeah.
So,
at that time. Yeah.
I think both TA and I picked the Cowboys as one of those trap games.
Everybody's healthy. It was a bad pick. Playing in Dallas.
Yep. And theoretically, we were supposed to be coming off our bye week. So we figured out we'd come off the bye week, still be a little sluggish, still be a little slow, go into Dallas and lay a golden egg.
Man,
I don't think that's happening this time.
No.
Hey, I thought that coming off the bye week was the perfect for us to be in rhythm and refresh and come out and play our best.
That's the way it's supposed to work, right?
That's what the Ravens were thinking too, Randy. You see how far that got them.
Oh, man, listen.
Good deal, guys. Well, hey, Randy, thank you so much, man, for joining us again. It was great to have you, and great insight as always. Gentlemen, what a way to celebrate another win, 7-0, undefeated, and tying a record set and from back in 1978.
Woo-hoo.
So I think we can set a new record next week. So looking forward to it, guys. In the meantime, have a great week all. Careful in the hot tub. We'll catch you next time. Thanks, Randy.
Thank you, guys.
Randy, thanks for coming. Steelers Nation, get your Advil out. Get rested up. We got another one next week.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining us, Randy. Hey, Steeler Nation, don't forget to go out there and vote tomorrow. That's for sure.
And wear your mask.
That's right.
Everybody go vote.
Wear your mask. Yeah.
Don't vote, you can't bet. Remember that. Okay.
What did he say?
Everybody go vote. Remember, if you don't vote, you can't bet. Remember that. Okay.
All right. So you don't vote, you don't get to vote.
Check back next week into the Steelers Realm podcast.